Good evening, everyone. My name is Harry Dollywall, and I am the host and founder of this podcast called Roots to Rise. And I founded this podcast for many different reasons. And this is also episode 1, so it's rough, it's raw, so I'm going to go with it, and let's see how it goes. So, Roots to Rise is a podcast that's there to uplift others who've been through turbulent times, for men who really, are struggling and like with divorce, finances, mental health, just overall hardships in life, and just need that extra boost, like to uplift themselves. And it's not just for men, it's for women as well. It's for actually everybody that's like I like to consider a late bloomer. Heck, I'm a late bloomer. I also have ADHD, which I am proud to say, because it has its perks as well as it has its weaknesses, but it's a unique tool to have in my opinion. And I have now shied away from, looking down upon myself or feeling bad for having ADHD. ADHD, like I said, is something that I was born with. I'm also premature, so it's not something that I can just turn on and off, but it's something that I can manage. And it comes with, like I said, its uniqueness. It's one thing that I love about ADHD, that it gets me in this creative zone. I can become like this creative freak, or I just let the creative juices just flow, and I could create wonders. Like I've had knacks for like photography, for blogging, and now I'm in podcast. Want to create a podcast. I want to share my story of what I've been through. Also, I'm 32 years old, and I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot of hardships, but that's what this podcast is about. It's about a community. It's about people that are late bloomers, or not afraid to embrace being a late bloomer, embrace, the ADHD, or acknowledge that, they've been through hardships, whether it's job losses, or recently getting laid off or fired, or getting a divorce, or, having debt, or just, having like health problems, etc. Life's tough. Life's tough. So that's what this podcast is all about. It's called Roots to Rise, is that we sharpen up our foundation, and we strive, and we push ourselves to make it. Because, I have been in my own spiral, and, I'm just trying to get my life together. So a little bit about me is, I mentioned I'm 32 years old. Currently, I'm self-employed. I'm doing, rideshare economy. I said it. Something I was going to kind of little shy about admitting, but it is what it is. I'm a type of guy. I'm a doer. I'm, worked in marketing. I've worked in tech. And I'm trying to, get my, job, my career going. Right now, the market's a little tough, so I'm pivoting from marketing into web development, web design, to eventually front-end web development and software engineering. I know that's a handful of what I just said right there, but ultimately, I want to get into software engineering, and I want to get into AI. I'm really fascinated by that. And on the side, I have a few creative endeavors like this podcast, blogging on medium.com, and also I'm recovering from a flu, but I wanted to launch this podcast, and I said I'm going to hit record, no more excuses, and I'm going to make most out of life. Another phrase that I live by is carpe diem. And going back, one last creative endeavor is Pangean Wear, which is an e-commerce clothing company that I'm working on, where I take global fashions take global cultures and bring it into fashion. So that's something else I'm working on. So I have a lot. So that's pros of my ADHD and how I'm managing. I have so many different tools that I use, which I'll be talking about throughout this podcast. But anyway, I know it's kind of a lot. Like I said, I'm just free flowing. And this is my, like I said, first time ever Actually, no, this is my first own podcast episode. I've been on a podcast before, which I'll share later in a later episode or so. But I want to note that, like, life is tough. We could either get a head start, make the right decision from the get-go, and then life's perfect, or in that scenario, like, everything's perfect from the get-go, then we fall back, we realize, it's not what life's about. Or you kind of live a similar lifestyle to me, where you kind of take the different paths, the non-linear route, and are finding your way, or have found your way. And because life's very dynamic, and this is what this podcast is about, is to embrace that it's okay that if you've been through hardships, life isn't linear. And for those who go the non-conventional path and are willing to make it, or if or if we're further behind than our peers, our friends and family, it's okay. Everybody's journey is different. Like my parents like to say is that, take a look at your fingers. Every finger is a different size, and metaphorically, that's how we all are. Everybody is different and unique in their own way. Everybody has their own strengths. Sure, the weaknesses, but this podcast is all about looking at the strengths, not ignoring the weaknesses, negatives. We'll also talk about those, how to improve ourselves. But it's to take our strengths and sharpen those and grow. Heck, we only have one life to live, so why not seize the day? In French, they say "es la vie," and in Latin, they say "carpe diem." Both phrases mean seize the day, it's life, live life to the fullest, etc. Heck, fun fact, I have "carpe diem" tatted in Old English gangsta font. But yeah, so fellas and ladies, this podcast is a podcast that I've created once again to showcase our inner strengths and to harness that and realize that it's okay if we have some setbacks. We're not failures. We for those of us that have ADHD or just feel like they're behind or late bloomers, we tend to think there's something wrong with us. We're behind others. We're dumb. No, we all have our own unique path, our own destination. There's light at the end of the tunnel for everybody. Everybody has their own tunnel length. Some have a longer tunnel, some have a shorter tunnel. It all depends. As long as you know that you know what you need to do and you prosper and what you need to do to make it in life. So that's what I want to help. I want to help others out to make it, to realize, to basically strengthen them, to embody them. Like, hey, you don't need to feel bad about yourself if you have ADHD, if you are a late bloomer, if you're in your early 30s or whatnot, you're behind than everybody that's in your 20s, that in your circle that's in their 20s, or around your age or older, or around your age or younger, that have made it. Older, we should aspire to that, those who made it. But it's okay. Everybody has their own unique, because I'm tired of feeling like I'm a failure, I'm a setback. I want to embrace being a late bloomer. I want to embrace my ADHD. I want to embrace who I am and what my path is and which path I want to take. And I know and believe in that path to make it. And I want to help others stay positive, get through it, man, because I've been through debt. I've been through many job losses. I've gotten divorced. I'm basically getting my life together. I'm so grateful for my parents that I'm basically able to live with them and kind of get my life in order, and doing whatever I need to. And one thing I want to admit is, like, during my break times, whenever I have through my work, that I'm gonna be creating this podcast. I also blog on medium.com, and which I'll be listing on the links down below the description. But this is what this podcast is all about. We are all roots and we're going to rise. We're all roots and we're going to rise. AKA roots to rise. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what this podcast is all about. And I'm going to be closing off here soon. And I just wanted to say, I hope this journey could help inspire other people, other followers, other subscribers. Please feel free to leave comments, ideas, what to talk about. But I really just want us, all late bloomers, to come together and realize that we got this. And one thing I'm going to say at the end of every podcast, we're going to make it through. All right? I'm going to say it one more time. We're going to make it through. And I'm inspired by Fred again and Eminem and a few other artists that I listen to. And that's the mantra that I want us to embody. We're going to make it. We're going to make it through. Or you going to make it through. Or we're going to make it through. However you want to follow that. So that's that. So closing off, and all right, take care and good evening. Cheers.